Good morning Year 4 and welcome to Friday's maths lesson. This video is going to be for the children which have the Year 3 maths booklet, which is this one here. Okay, so if you've got the Year 3 maths booklet and it's Friday, then you are in the right place. This is the right video for you. Now in your booklet I want you to turn to page 5. So page 5 here is going to be your work for today. Now we've got 4 sections to work through in this lesson. Section 1, we're going to start by ordering numbers. So I've got the first few numbers that are on your number line written on my whiteboard, and we need to write down the numbers that can go in the box, but they have to be in order from smallest to largest. On your workbooks, here are the numbers that are shown. We've got the number 98, 112 and 160, and in between these numbers there is a box that you need to write a number. Now the number in this box needs to be greater than 98, but it needs to be less than 112. So there are a range of numbers that you can put in here. Not everybody is going to have the same answers, but it needs to be more than 98 but less than 112. So I'm going to put in here the number 100, because 100 is more than 98. It turns to a 3-digit number, but 100 is less than 112 because there are zeros in my tens and ones column in 100, but in 112 there are greater numbers in those columns, so I'm going to choose 100. You might have a different number, and when you are sending your work in, try to use different numbers, not the ones that I've used on the example. Okay, so for your next blank box that you've got, it's the same principle as before. It needs to be more than 112, but it needs to be less than 160. What number could go into this box which is more than 112 and less than 160? Have a think which number could go in there. There are lots of numbers that you could choose from. So a number that's bigger than 112, I'm going to go for 130. 130, is that less than 160? Let's write it down. Is it less than 160? Well, there's got 6 tens in 160, but only 3 tens in 130, so I know that that's less than 160. It's definitely more than 112 because there was 1 in the tens column, but now there is 3 in the tens column, so it's a bigger number. And you're going to do that for sections A and B on question 1. So you've got 2 number lines that you need to fill in. Remember, the numbers are getting greater every time, so I want you to fill out section A and section B. You can pause the video now and return back when you are ready to go on to section 2. Okay, so if you've finished section 1, we're now on section 2 of today's learning. And here you've got another number line, but you need to put the numbers in order. And as you can see here, this says highest, and at the very end it says lowest. So we need to be putting these numbers in order, but starting with the highest value, the biggest number. And then at the very end is the smallest value, the smallest number out of all of them that are showing at the top. So as an example, I've picked 3 numbers which are in here, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to order them from the biggest, the highest value, all the way to the smallest. Here are 3 numbers which are in your books, which you will have to determine which are smaller or greater than. So we've got 645, 506 and 605. Remember, we're starting off with the largest number. The way I'm going to do that is to be looking in my hundreds column, which number has got more hundreds in. So I'm going to circle the hundreds. So I've got 100, 600 there, 500 there, so I know it's not going to be that one. I've got 600 there. So it's going to be between these two because they've got the same value in the hundreds column. But I can't put them both down. So now I need to move on to the next place value column, which is the tens column. So I'm going to circle these. So this one has a 4, this one has a 0. So that one has 4 in the tens column, that one has 0. 4 is bigger than 0. So this is going to be the greatest number out of those, so I can take that off. Do cross them off when you are putting them in, and that just saves you repeating that number again. So it's 645. Now I need to be looking at these two numbers, so I'm going to go back to the hundreds. There was 600 in that number, and there was 500 in this number. Now 600 is bigger than 5. Remember, we're starting with the biggest number out of them two. So it's going to be 605. I'm going to cross that one off because I've used it. And then after that, my last remaining number was 506. So this is my largest number, and it's gradually getting smaller. So in your workbooks, you're going to put your numbers in order using this method, circling the hundreds column, and then if they've got the same, move on to the tens column. Cross them off once you have plotted them in your number line. Okay, so you're going to complete section 2, and then you're going to return back to the video. Section 3 of today's learning is going to be using different symbols to show which number is greater. And we use these symbols. We call them Charlie Croc. So you might have heard of these before. So you've got this symbol, this symbol, and this one. These are the 3 symbols you're going to be using today. I'm going to turn over and we're going to have a look at question A in your books. There are 2 numbers. The numbers are 621 and 612. Now I've left a box in the middle because that's where I'm going to put the correct symbol. So I'm going to have a look again, just like I did before in section 2 of the learning. We're going to look in the hundreds column. So I've got 600 and I've got 600 there. They're both the same. So I'm going to move on to the next column to see which number is bigger. You might know this already. You might do this just as a method to check. So I've got a 2 in my tens column, a 1 in my tens column. So which number is going to be bigger? Is it the one with the 2 in the tens column or the one with a 1 in a tens column? Well, 2 is bigger than 1. So Charlie Croc always eats the bigger number. So I'm going to draw Charlie Croc with his mouth open to the bigger number. Sometimes teachers will see this in your books, but we have to correct it. Sometimes we'll see this. That's not going to get you a tick in your book because it's not the correct symbol. It needs to be 2 sharp lines. So I'm going to get rid of this and I'm going to put it back the correct way. So it's like this. Okay, have a look. Right, so what you're going to do is put the correct symbols in the boxes. So which numbers are bigger? Remember, Charlie Croc eats the bigger number. Now there is one symbol that I haven't covered, and that was your equal sign. So this one here. The equal sign is when you've got the same value on both sides. So it could be, let's say for example, 21 and 21. Charlie Croc can't eat the bigger number because they're both the same value. So you're going to have an equal sign here and an equal sign there. And that's going to show that it's the same value. So you're going to complete section 3 and then we'll come back to section 4. Okay, if you've finished section 3 and you're now on section 4, you are going to write down the digits which are in the tens column. So you're going to be looking at these 4 numbers, which digits are in the tens column. So you've got the number 19. Okay, let's change that number 9, make sure our numbers look correct. So there's my number 19. There's my tens column, there's my ones column. What number is in my tens column? Well, it's the number 1, isn't it? So I'm going to write 1 is in my tens column. If we had the number 329, I've got my hundreds column, my tens and my ones. Which number is in the tens column? It's the number 2. These can be represented as 10 or 20. So for section 4, you're going to write down the digit that's in the tens place for each number. When you've finished all of your learning, I'd like you to take a picture of your learning and send it into the Year 4 email for me to check over your answers. Okay, good luck everybody.